You won't miss one of these coming down the road. It's the new CHR, that's Compact High Rider if you're wondering, and it's the latest utility vehicle from Toyota, although with some of the styling here, you could be forgiven for thinking that it's a Lexus at first glance. CHR slots in beneath the RAV4, competing with models like the Nissan Juke and Honda HR-V with, as you've noticed, a healthy dose of style and uniqueness. Just a quick going over with your peepers tells you this is something really different. Look at the daring edges, the swoopy angles, the character-packed lines, and the distinctively sporty silhouette, completed with concealed high-mounted rear door handles. It's hard to find a bad angle, and if you want a little crossover that looks really out of this world, well, this thing is worth your immediate attention.
Case in point, well, I've been driving this CHR now for a couple of days, and I don't think I've ever driven anything on this side of about $80,000 that saw so many people bust out their cell phone cameras to take a picture. The visual bang for the buck here is off the charts.
Elsewhere, like the exterior styling, the cabin is an asset. It's not as roomy and spacious feeling as you'll find in some competitors. This is a compact high rider, remember, meaning that it's intended to feel like you're driving a sporty coupe, but with an elevated ride height more than it's intended to make you feel like you're driving a roomy crossover. With the sporty and elevated driving position, good seats, and this funky and modern cabin design, shoppers who fancy an affordable small coupe but need extra room are nicely covered off. Notably, the cabin has plenty of storage nearby, most of the right materials are in the right places, and uniqueness abounds. I love the multi-layered look to the dashboard, complete with accent stitching and various contrasting colors and textures to richen up the look. The textured door panels and swooping center console help dial things up too. There's a touchscreen central command interface, top and center on the dash, and in all, this cabin might feel a bit tight for some, but it hits the mark for a tidy, upscale, and modern look. In back, the cargo hold is bigger than you might think, and awesomely, the rear seats fold fully flat, making it easier to load larger, longer, or otherwise awkward items in without any wasted space. Power comes exclusively from a 2-liter 4-cylinder running Toyota's Valvematic technology to optimize engine breathing in real time for improved efficiency and performance. You get 144 horsepower. All-wheel drive is available in other markets, but not in Canada, at least at writing, so the tester was front-wheel drive. The gearbox is a continually variable transmission, or CVT, and a very good one at that.
Some driving enthusiasts don't like the CVT style of transmission because they think it's yucky since it doesn't have preset gears, and at or near full throttle, they tend to keep the RPMs pegged steady, meaning the engine sort of drones along and sounds like a stray dumpster cat in heat. This is the way CVT transmissions were for quite some time, but modern units like this one actually simulate gear shifting, with revs climbing, falling, and climbing again, more like a normal transmission. But where this one really shines is when you're driving it gently. The revs stay low and steady, it operates smoothly as all heck, and the way most drivers drive most of the time, well, you'd hardly ever know it had a transmission at all.
Smoothness is a thing that helps define the CHR in many areas. Unless you've really opened the engine up, it's quiet, refined, never sounds bothered, and operates with a charming creaminess, especially at low to mid-range revs. This largely feels the part of a world-class powertrain, even if the overall performance and output won't light the enthusiast driver's face on fire. But go into the ride and handling and things really shine. Ride quality, in a word, is excellent. Even on the badly deteriorated roads around Sudbury, Ontario, the potholes and frost heaves and pavement craters did little to upset the CHR's ride and comfort. It's a little taut and sporty, but the real trick here is a precisely deployed layer of progressive softness around the edges of the suspension travel. It feels like someone worked overtime dialing the suspension in to enable athletic and eager handling, but without crashing into bumps or becoming uncomfortable almost anywhere. All said, usually I expect this level of suspension fine-tuning in a much pricier luxury sports model. Steering, further, also feels carefully set up. Though it's not big on feedback, the weight and ratio feel just right at virtually all times, light and easy at lower speeds around town and heavier and more confident on the highway, helping lock the CHR into its line. And overall, the steering is quicker than average. It feels more sports car than sports utility, and calibrated nicely against the suspension setup for an above-average level of entertainment value when you get to pushing it. Gripes? While the same sporty driver impressed by the steering and handling will wish the brakes felt a bit more eager and precise. The pedal is a little vague, and though the system gets the CHR stationary in quick order with little drama, it fails to match the precision you'll feel elsewhere. There's no manual transmission available at this point, which will be another gripe for sporty drivers too. Finally, with a look like this, there's a little compromise. Headroom gets tight quickly if you're taller than average. In the rear seats, the windows stop a little short of your face, so it can feel confined, even though there is enough room overall, and that the door-mounted rear cup holders are fairly handy. Finally, rearward visibility for lane change checks is limited, so you'll have to set your mirrors up perfectly, and when reversing, you'll really need to rely on this backup camera, which is on the rearview mirror, which is a little weird. Note, however, that the turning circle is nice and tight, so ultimately this one's a cinch to park. So it looks killer, it's great to drive, it rides very well, and it'll satisfy anyone's desire to roll around in something that really stands out. End of the day, where shopper priorities in a small utility model center more around handling, ride quality, and fantastic looks than visibility and all-out space, the CHR should be considered a priority test drive. Thanks for watching.